Welcome, level uppers, to another reaction time. I am one of your co-hosts, Andrew Midori, alongside the classy douchebag, Michael McLaughlin.
Hey!
You always do the same face every time. Hey!
Hey!
Hey, it's awesome!
It's awesome! It's awesome!
If you guys don't know, reaction time is our weekly discussion of yours and our favorite TV shows, including, right now, Game of Thrones, but we also do The Walking Dead when it's on, Better Call Saul, Flash, Arrow, and many more to come. Hopefully, The Leftovers and anything else that we can think of in the near future, of course.
Everything.
You suddenly got really low in volume.
No, it's suddenly just me. I just talked really low, I think.
Oh, okay. Is there any show coming up that you are desperately wanting to do for reaction time?
I think you know what I would really like to do, because me and Greg have never done it, and I would like to do it with each of us have our own thing. I really want to do Orange is the New Black with Greg.
Orange is the New Black. Okay. Yeah, that's a good show. I like that show.
Do because I feel like Greg is the type of person that will binge watch it all within a couple of days, like I will. So we can do 3 separate days throughout the week.
What did you like? We're going off topic a little bit. Did you like the first season or the second season better of Orange is the New Black?
I don't know, because they're not. You know what's funny about the show? When I think back on them, there's memorable moments, but not the whole thing always consumed me up. You know, neither one of them were oh my god, but at the same time, at the end of it, I was I need more. So I don't know what it is that has a charm over me. I can't really tell you, because you know what I didn't like about the second season? They introduced a bunch of characters I didn't care about at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like the first season better for sure. I think the second season is actually a good bit worse than the first season. I think I agree. I think it's a lot to do with the new characters that they added and just getting rid of what's her name for the first half and then having her come back.
And now they're getting rid of Jason, whatever his name is.
Jason.
Is it Jason? No, maybe it's
Jason.
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 What's his name? What's his name? The husband.
Oh, okay. Oh god, Jason Biggs, right?
Jason Biggs, yeah. See, Jason. Yeah, he's not going to be in the show for the season.
We got 18 people in the room. Thank you so much for joining us. Ghost loves Orange is the New Black. We also got Blaze Boy in here. Welcome, Blaze Boy. Let's get right into it. Mike, do you have the outline in front of you for Game of Thrones?
I do.
This is season 5, episode 4. We're 4 days late, but this was another strong episode in this season. Even though a lot of people think this season has been going slow, we've been enjoying it thoroughly.
I like it. I think so far this has been, to me, one of the more entertaining seasons. I actually thought last season was slow. Last season, the beginning at least, the beginning of last season kind of bored me a little bit.
Okay.
So this one I'm actually really into. I love politics, and I love things being I like seeing things being set up. I'd rather sit and watch somebody build something than to see the actual end result. You know, that I get bored with. So they're building up everything. I'm enjoying it all around. But
how did this episode start?
Yeah, it continued off of a really interesting thing that happened last episode, and that's where we finally saw what ended up happening to Tyrion, who was taken by Jorah. Or I believe that's what's the beginning. I'm just going to go in an order. We're going to cover each story. I think
you're right. This is how it started.
So it is how it started. Good. So you see Tyrion. He's basically tied up, hog-tied, and Jorah ends up stealing a boat. He's rowing away, and Tyrion's just mumbling and yelling at him through the bound gag in his mouth and annoying the heck out of Jorah. So he finally gets the gag out of his mouth, and he starts talking and annoying him, saying, if you were going to take me to my sister, this and that. And he said, I'm not taking you to my sister, which is kind of what you and I had suspected already.
I think we all kind of assumed last episode. He said the queen, which I think they intentionally made vague just to have you question a little bit. Does he mean Cersei? Does he mean Daenerys? We all thought he meant Daenerys because she's the only queen to him now. He's obsessed with her in a sense. He was in the brothel or whatever, angry, drinking away his sorrow, looking at these Daenerys wannabes, these whores and prostitutes, which was angering him. So it's no surprise to me at all that later on in the episode he does, let him know that you go into Daenerys. And the funny part is that Tyrion wanted to get there anyway. That's where him and Varys were going in the first place.
Right, which is funny because it comes up in the dialogue. But first he's going through the stuff, and he's saying that, and eventually he's not taking you there. I'm taking you to the true Queen Cersei and everything. He's like, well, and Tyrion starts laughing. It's actually kind of entertaining. He's like, I could have saved you a lot of time. And then it kind of gets exposed. Jorah, obviously was kicked out. Cersei doesn't want him there. So I feel like, we all kind of knew this was going to be his way to get back on her good side. And Tyrion starts piecing that together. He starts piecing together that, he's trying to do this to make himself look good. And then he actually says to him, it's more likely that they're going to behead you and praise me, or something along those lines.
Sure.
And this upsets Jorah, and he smacks him. I can't really remember if there's anything after that. I feel like that's kind of what it.
How do you feel about Jorah right now, as like a character and a person?
You know what sucks? He was one of my favorite characters up until they exiled him.
Okay.
And I mean, not up to exactly that moment. He started getting weird, but he kind of was trying to put himself out there to Daenerys. And
he's always been a little stalkerish, and it's always been a little weird because we're supposed to assume Dany is really, really young. She's like, what, 13 in the books? I think they're kind of allowing
Whoa,
her
wait, really?
Yeah.
No, I thought she was going to be like 17.
No, she's really, really young in the books. She's definitely like underage by a good amount.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure.
Right,
in the
mind.
show,
This
I think
is
they
better.
kind of imply she's more like 16, 17 or something along those lines. But still, it's creepy for like this 40-something-year-old man. And also, like, his obsessive nature towards her is at first a little bit charming, and then it gets more and more creepy as I think the show went on.
Well, it gets creepy because she's kind of like blowing him off, but he's still advancing on her and everything like that. So this is kind of his way, of seeing if he can get back on her good side, as Tyrion exposes it to. And I agree. I think it's going to backfire on him.
Okay.
I'm not really sure if Jorah is going to be around after this season. I'm really not.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's not like a massive character. I mean, I always liked him at the beginning, and I liked how loyal he was to Daenerys. And I was really sad, actually, when she exiled him or banished him in the last season. I hear my echo a little bit on your mic end. Hopefully that doesn't echo for you guys on the stream. But also, I had a quick comment in the chat room. Somebody saying, I hate to admit it, but I miss Joffrey.
Yeah, I saw that. Puss said that, I think.
I think it was Ghost, actually. Do you agree with that? Do you miss Joffrey?
Yes, just because King's Landing is boring me right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's really, and you know what, like, I always hated the Bolton, and yeah, the biggest problem, I don't have anybody to hate. I've always hated the Boltons, but I don't really have anybody that I can be like, I dispose you. You are the nemesis of the entire show. And that's really what Joffrey served a purpose for. So I don't know.
I feel like Ramsay might take over that role, though.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You see, I don't really know what's going to happen with her, between Sansa and him, and we'll get to that a little bit later, because something that happens actually leads it that way. I am, what is this? I am Emrys, so that they skipped the whole Tyrion and the freak show from the book. I'd be very interested to know what that is. I'm guessing it wasn't really.
Maybe they're just saving it for later.
But I would like to know what that is.
After that scene, we did get to the Jaime and Bronn scene. They're on the ship. They're heading to Dorne. As we found out last episode, Jaime. There's a really bad echo.
Really? I don't know what it is. I have a headset on.
Huh. Wondering why I'm hearing myself back through your end.
Probably because you have me turned up so loud through the TV because people said they couldn't hear me.
Well, if I can hear myself on your end, that means they can hear me too, echoing on your end, so that's not good. But either way, we're on the Jaime, the Bronn scene. He picked up Bronn in the last episode, who was supposed to have this castle and this wife, and now Jaime offered him a new castle and wife to have him come with him. And Jaime is like obsessive about being the one to save his niece. And I thought it was also interesting that Bronn immediately said, "Your niece," almost implying like everybody knows now that it's not your niece.
Right, and I feel like Bronn's a little bit almost insulted in a way. Here he is being beckoned to help Jaime on what could possibly be a suicide mission, and he's not even being fully honest with him. Like, I feel like he respects him, but I feel like he was hoping that Jaime would just be a little bit more honest with him at this point.
Also, too, IX, neither of us have read the books. He was asking us. Yeah, so we don't have any idea what you're talking about with the freak show, although it does sound awesome. After that, we go to Cersei and the council meeting. I'm trying to remember what happened here. She just is continuously getting rid of people on the council.
Well, here, hold on. Instead of skipping around like that, I actually want to go through because I don't have a full outline that goes. I have to skip around otherwise.
Okay.
So let's finish up their story because that was actually, in my opinion, the Jaime and Bronn section of the episode was probably the most entertaining to me, especially the back and forth that they have between the two. Obviously they're on the ship, and then later on, you'll go back to them, and they actually find their way ashore, and Bronn, asked Jamie, how is he, how are you sure no one's gonna expose us or anything like that? And he said, I paid him in gold. That kind of bites him in the ass. So they're sitting on the shore, they're having a fire, and all of a sudden they see the horses approach. And there's a lot of back and forth between them. Like I said, that's what is the most entertaining part of this episode to me, is the back and forth that you have between the characters, between Bronn and Jamie and Tyrion and the Spider. So the back and forth. And one thing you did skip, and by the way, he said, Bronn said to Jamie, you set your brother free, didn't you? I bet your sister didn't like that. And he said, he murdered my father. If I ever see him again, I'll split him in two.
And this follows closer to the books now, and some people are wondering what they were going to do there, because at the end of the 4th season, they made the change in that Jamie didn't already hate Tyrion. He actually pretty much, they have a really bad relationship at the close of the 4th season in the book.
Oh, really?
But they decided to wait until he killed a Tywin in the show to have that relationship fall apart. So, in the books, like, as far as I know, Tyrion and Jamie kind of hate each other at this point, and it seems like the show's going that direction now too.
Which I really hate that, actually, and I don't like that. I mean, it's true to the books, and it's a story that he wants to tell. But personally, I thought that there was something a little bit redeeming about that. Here you have Jamie, who, for all intents and purposes, was pretty much a huge villain at the beginning of the books. You have Cersei, who's a complete bitch, and then you have Tyrion, who's he has his faults, but he actually is really kind-hearted, and he actually means well in almost everything he does. He's carefree, and he doesn't care about almost anyone or even himself a lot of the time. But then you have this bond between him and Jamie, which is probably one of the closest bonds you see between any two characters, still lasting throughout the entire series.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice that Tyrion just had that one person. He had Bronn a little bit, but even at the end, Bronn kind of says, like, I can't do this for you. I'm being given a castle, I'm being given a wife, like, I'm not going to take the chance on you. And Jamie was the one to take the chance on him. So it was nice that he had somebody, and now it's gone. It seems like it's fallen apart.
Right. I don't know what George Martin has against little people, but apparently he doesn't want anybody in the entire world to have good feeling towards Tyrion, and he's probably the most deserving out of anybody in the damn book besides Jon Snow. But so they go through that. But then, like I said, they were on the shore, and they see that the horsemen are running up, and Jamie, Bronn says to him, he said, how many do you think you could take? He said, depending on how good they are, maybe one. And
then he knocks him off the horse, and he says, "There you go." He's I don't know what he said exactly, but basically he gave him a handicap for him.
Right. So they go through the fight. It was actually really cool because I don't know why he doesn't use it more. Jamie keeps playing up his handicap, and he has metal in his hand. Imagine if you had the ability to just grab a sword. You have that ability. Stop being a pussy and use it. Sorry. Excuse my language. But seriously, like, you have.
Well, I just think he never even thought to be honest with you. And the thing is about this is a little weird. Is I think his hand is made out of gold, and gold is a very, very weak metal.
Right.
So I don't know exactly. I mean, a good sword would probably cut through gold, to be honest with you. So
you think so? I mean, I don't know, cut through, but it would damage it a lot. No, I agree with that. So I hope that they play that up. But eventually what happens is Jamie, he has no sword. He's falling down the dune, and the guy comes up and he puts his hand up, and in that little crack that he has right there, the sword just kind of goes in and he grabs it from him and, kills the guy. So now they're good to go. They have an open space, but unfortunately, as you can tell, someone tipped off somebody that they were there. And then it kind of cuts right to who we find out. What was her name you said again? I couldn't remember her name.
Elia Martell and the same.
Elia Martell. Yes.
And they are preparing to try. They know that they're coming now. They know that Jamie and Bronn are coming, so now they're like, we have to be quick. We have to get whatever the daughter's name of Cersei is. They want to kill this girl so bad.
Right.
Which is kind of messed up.
Right, really bad. But it's the 3 daughters. They're all daughters. They're all warriors, you can tell. And then you see under like a bowl, they had the captain. They had buried him. He ratted them out. But they didn't like that he got them there in the first place. So they, had scorpions in the bucket. It was like pretty bad torture device. But then it went to probably the weakest part of the episode. And when I say that is, I don't like unneeded stories and lectures that just take away from the entire episode. So all she does is ask you, "Are you ready for war?" And the two sisters say, "Yes, yeah, of course." And then the other one decides this is the time to tell the novel to her mother that probably already knows her novel. And it takes like what 2 minutes.
That
for
was
her to
totally
tell
meant
this.
for us as the audience. It's like, oh my god, what is she gonna do? What side is she gonna be on? So she tells this big long monologue just to end it finally with, oh,
Right.
I'm in, totally.
She throws the spear through the captain's head.
Which was awesome.
That was redeeming. But the
That was
rest of
good.
it, I hate when you do not use that. If you are making a show or a movie, do not use an unneeded monologue that sounds completely unnatural to tell a side of a story. Do whatever hell you need to otherwise. Do not do that. I hate it. We all hate it. It's boring and it makes you seem like you're uninspired. I hate it.
I want to say a quick thank you to XM Emrys. I'm not sure how to say his name exactly,
Yeah.
but he's been watching, he's been commenting, and now he followed us. Thank you so much, man. Keep those follows coming, guys. We got 2 out of 5. If we get 5 follows during this little reaction time, I'll give out some XP to the chat room, of course. All you got to do is hit that heart button in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen if you want to follow us. Let's jump back to the Tom and Marjorie story of this episode a little bit, because Cersei orders the High Sparrows to pretty much just go on a rampage, taking all these people, killing them, and they take her brother hostage.
Right.
They put him in prison because he's gay, pretty much.
Right. And it's kind of entertaining. It's like, how long has she known this, and what is her plan? I guess obviously she's trying to use it against Marjorie, but you really don't understand like who is he married to? Oh, nobody, right?
Nobody, no. He was supposed to marry Cersei, but now that Tywin is dead, that doesn't seem to be happening.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, he's kind of like a non-player at this point in the game anyway, but she's definitely using this obviously to get back at Marjorie, who then goes after Tomlin, and says, "I need my brother back," and he's a kid. I get it, but he is going to get crushed in this.
Here's the thing. I'm a little torn about Tommen in this episode because they're trying to play him off as being really weak, right? And not being able to make those tough decisions. But during the scene when he does go to the Sparrows, and he wants to get the brother out of prison, he backs down because he sees all these people behind him chanting abomination, all these people, this crowd, and he decides in that moment like not to cause a violent scene. I think he might have actually shown a little bit of wisdom there. I actually like that he chose not to attack.
I like that. What I'm saying is he's squishy when it comes to Marjorie or women in general. When it comes to
he's definitely easily manipulated. That's clear.
Oh, right. But I agree. I that was a smart move on his part. You don't want to do that. They would have all revolted against him, and he only had 12 guards or something like that with him. So that would have definitely been bad for him. But he's definitely he stutters all the time. He's like, I'm sorry, is that what you want? Like, bitch, you're the king.
Especially with his mother. Yeah, with Cersei especially. He goes to her, I have it on screen right now, and he says to release the brother, and she's like, oh, I didn't put him there. It's like, you're going to have to go yourself. And I was kind of surprised at that and a little bit because Cersei's kind of putting him in danger here. And you know how Cersei is with her children. She's just so protective of them.
What's entertaining is I don't think she put him in danger. I don't think she knew. I mean, the entire crowd, everybody around acting like that was not something I expected. I expected the Sparrows to give him, to push back a little bit. And I think she kind of knew he would stand down and then would go into a fight. And they kind of know not to mess with the king. They're just going to protect everything they have. But I didn't expect the rest of the crowd to react that way. So that was interesting. And I guess those are followers of the Sparrows that or something like that.
I guess. Where did these people come from? They seem to grow in numbers out of nowhere. They weren't in the last season whatsoever. And then suddenly we had this enormous group of religious people that are causing mayhem. I don't know where it came from exactly. And I have a little bit of a problem with that.
Really?
Yeah, I just it feels so out of nowhere. I don't know.
You gotta remember too, King's Landing is really big, and they play it up as to me. When I'm watching the show, King's Landing to me actually feels really small, but realistically, it's supposed to be a pretty damn.
Oh yeah, sure, it's huge. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of the whole city that we haven't seen. You do see poor people, and all these people that you're seeing are poor. Now you haven't seen the Sparrows. I get that's weird, but that could be. And I think they said in the beginning of the season they kind of have grown in the area recently. So I think they touched on that. But yeah, I think that was it for the Cersei, Tommen.
Yeah, let's jump to the wall because this was my favorite stuff of this episode. First of all, we got Jon working together with Sam, having to bring people from all over to the wall, specifically from Bolton's group, which Jon did not want to happen because obviously Bolton killed Robb.
Right. And so he's sitting there trying to sign all the documents, and he says, "No, I'm not signing this." And Sam's like, "You need people, so you can worry about that afterwards." And so I get his hesitance, but as a leader, you kind of need to suck it up and do these things, and he does. He signs.
And he does, yeah.
Begrudgingly.
And then we get to a scene that I can't show because we get our first nude scene of the episode.
Right.
Because Melisandre comes in, and typical Melisandre fashion, she tries to manipulate Jon with her body.
Yes.
She has a good body.
Well, actually, did you? I think no, you actually skipped the part. So Stannis is actually before this. Stannis
outside,
is watching, Jon Snow in the courtyard. His wife is saying that he doesn't like that he likes him. A boy that was born by a tavern slut, I think she says. Yeah. Tavern slut, she calls her.
It's a bastard Snow.
But he he doesn't sound convinced, and he says perhaps that wasn't that, but that wasn't Ned Stark's way. And then Melisandre, I don't know.
Melisandre, yep.
Melisandre comes in and kind of almost scares his wife away, which is great because his wife just is a pain in my ass.
Yeah, but then Melisandre's creepy as shit. That woman creeps me out.
Oh, she creeps me out, but I'll tell you right now, anybody that can insult their own child is a piece of shit.
Oh, I agree. And that's what we'll get to that in a moment, but that's what made Stannis so awesome in this episode. But before we get to that, let's hold on a second, because that's an amazing scene. Let's go to how the Melisandre scene closed with Jon. This was really interesting. She's trying to manipulate him, trying so hard to make him realize that he has this power within him to become the king and whatnot. And then when he denies her, she seemed kind of pleased, kind of not, but leaves by saying, "You know nothing, Jon Snow."
That was, and so that's actually, I'm surprised you skipped to that right away, because I wanted to play on her reaction to him. I wouldn't say that she seemed pleased, but she definitely seemed respectful of him. It was kind of like she didn't get her way, but she respects his, I guess, what would you call that?
Refusal.
His refusal, well, his values. He values love, and everything like that. And he says, I've loved one person, I still love them. And, she said something like, "The dead do not need your love." And I can't remember his reply, but it was a pretty interesting turn of words. But she definitely respects him for it, and I'm interested to see how that plays out. I wonder if she knew that, and if she was trying to get her way, or seeing if she could tempt him.
But how did she know that line? How did she know "You know nothing, Jon Snow"? In your opinion?
I don't know. I have no idea. Like, is it a weird thing that she's the mother? Is it a weird thing that she's channeling the spirits? I mean, we already know that she has some supernatural abilities.
Yeah.
Smoke monster that she conjured up from Lost, that killed the one king. So we already know that she has that power. So maybe she can channel the dead, or can see into his past. I'm actually thinking more so she can see into his past than anything else. She's been able to read the future. Remember how when she walks in, he said that he's not interested in learning his future or anything like that. I can't remember exactly what he says, but
Ixam says she's a very powerful character, and he keeps telling us to read the books, but we will not. I can guarantee you I will never read the books. I do not have the time for a massive, epic tale of Game of Thrones in book form. Not for me.
Right. Well, no, I don't mind it, but it's just there's too much to get behind at this point.
Now let's get to my favorite scene in the entire episode.
Yes.
God, what's her name? Shireen walks in on Stannis, and she's kind of like just playing with stuff. Stannis at first is like, "What are you doing here?" And she says that Mother told her not to come.
Right. She basically said, because this is actually right after the scene with the Mother and Stannis, where Alessandra comes in, and he says, "Are you bored?" She said, "No." And what did he say to her? He said, she says, "Father, are you ashamed of me?"
Yeah.
And he goes to the story and he basically says, "We didn't know the toy that we bought you was cursed. And it wasn't until after we saw the results of it that it happened. And immediately we brought in every doctor and alchemist that we could find to kind of cure you. And we did." And it's just, the whole speech was just really moving, because up to this point, you're not really sure how Stannis feels about his daughter.
Exactly. That's what made the scene so touching.
Right. You already know the mother is a complete piece of shit.
Yeah.
So forget her. But at this point, you're really not sure. You're on the fence. He's kind of, not hostile towards her, but he definitely doesn't show that he cares a lot.
In
That's also
general,
how.
in general, I would say Stannis is just kind of a cold personality. He doesn't usually show a lot of emotion. He's very monotone, all that kind
And
of stuff.
fathers don't really care about the daughters that much in this time either. There's some
No, they
fathers
don't. It doesn't seem
across
to.
the board, especially ones in high power. They don't
Yeah.
have time for their daughters. So for him to go through this whole speech, and as he's giving it, she could tell how much he cares about her, and you could tell in him how much he cares about her. So she starts crying, then I start crying, and then she goes for the hug, and he kisses her on the head.
Well, that was what did it in this scene is her. She did a really, really good job, this little girl, this actress, with subtle emotions. The way her eyes water up and the little bit of a smile that she gives off when he says, "You are Shireen Baratheon, you are my daughter." And then she just goes in for the hug. And I'm just like, dog, Stannis, the old softy.
And he's always like, he's stiff. He's sitting there like this, and then he finally goes in for the hug, and
it was really
he's
nice.
like, "Oh, this is good. I want my daughter here. I missed it."
And I know on the message boards, everybody was going nuts over the scene. There's like all these Tumblr gifs now of their hug and embrace because everyone's like, "Oh, Stannis, I love you now." Like this is all we needed, and Stannis is like back on my good side. Like I love him.
That's awesome. Good.
I've always liked Stannis. Don't get me wrong.
I like him a lot.
He's a little cold, and I've always been a little like nervous about him being manipulated by Melisandre and all this kind of stuff. But this scene has put him back on track.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out later on. I'm really interested to see what happens at King's Landing. Like, is everything going to come to a head there between Daenerys and him? And I'm really not sure. Like, if it does, who do I really want to win? I like Daenerys and what she stands for, but Stannis as a king, I feel like he has what it takes. He is a king. So I don't know. This is interesting, but this definitely gives some redeeming points for him.
Sure. After that, we get to my other favorite scene of the episode. This middle half, or like middle portion, was my favorite part of the show for sure. Because at the beginning, I was kind of like, I'm not really that crazy about this episode. And then we got to the wall, and then we got to the catacombs of Winterfell.
Are you reading the same outline that I have in front of me? Because this is really weird. That's like next.
No. I just I'm looking at the screen. This is what's on video right now with Sansa and Littlefinger talking about what is her name?
I can't remember her name, but it's Ned's sister.
Ned's sister, who was supposedly just beautiful, just wildly beautiful. Yep. Everybody wanted her.
Lyanna.
And Rhaegar Targaryen specifically chose her over what I think he was supposed to. I think he was kind of he was already chosen.
No, he had a wife. He was actually already married, supposedly, from what they were saying in there. And instead, so he wins an event. And then at the end, he gets the crown of roses, and instead of bringing it to his wife, he rides directly past his wife and brings it to Lyanna and lays it on her lap.
Lyanna, that's her name, yeah. And what's interesting about this is the two sides. And personally, I think that the Stark Baratheon side is lying. Because they always say that Rhaegar kidnapped Lyanna, raped her, all this kind of stuff. I think Lyanna went with Rhaegar. And I think that...
No, I agree.
Ned and the Baratheons, they told this lie, or maybe they believed it, I don't know. But in order to have their rebellion against the Targaryens, this is what they went with. It's like, they kidnapped my sister, they're raping her, rebellion. But I don't think that's what happened.
And I feel like a lot of people have assumed that from the beginning. I mean, you got to remember, all these things, everything that happens in the show is just a politics game. And what's going to win, and saying that someone kidnapped somebody and then, fueling the fire by saying the word rape, that's going to really get people on your side, especially if you want to overtake a kingdom. They didn't like the way that the Targaryens were running the kingdom, and they wanted it back. So they did whatever they could, and this is definitely the way. So yeah, 100% agree with that. But the back and forth that happens within that is Sansa actually says, or Littlefinger actually said, how many tens of thousands had to die because Rhaegar chose your aunt? And then Sansa says, yes, he chose her, and then he kidnapped her and raped her, which is kind of weird. But then
Black Panther, I just wanted to comment real quick. We are reading the chat, Black Panther. If you do have like a specific question on the episode, I'm like trying to glance up and down to see specific questions, and if something sticks out at me, we'll.
He just said, I don't really care for Game of Thrones, so I don't know why it matters if we're reading the chat.
Yeah, but there hasn't been too many questions. Just people commenting on what we're talking about, really. Oh, go ahead, Mike. What's up next? What's after this scene?
So right after that, they actually he wants to get into more serious talk, and he says, "Come, let's talk somewhere where the dead can't hear us." And he explains to her that he's basically leaving for King's Landing because Cersei called for him. And this obviously does not sit well with Sansa. She doesn't like where she is at all. She hates, I mean, everybody around here. She has no idea Reek's there, and even if she did, it wouldn't be the same because he's Reek. So he basically says you have to be strong and stay here. He kind of basically says, Ramsay, that's his name, right? Ramsay?
Ramsay, yep, Ramsay Bolton.
He's like, he will bend to your will, and you need to use that against him. Bend him to your will. He's already fallen in love with you. Use that to your advantage. Make him do what you want him to do. Yeah. And he basically, I mean, there's already you see the pieces being moved around. Like the entire show is just a chessboard.
And I feel like Littlefinger might be the best chess player of them all, actually.
Oh, 100%. Littlefinger and the Spider are easily the two best in the game. But what's interesting about them at this point is there's not just one game. It's almost like Chinese checkers where there's like 15 different games going on. And Littlefinger and Spider are both setting up the biggest pieces and the biggest the biggest combos, together. So Littlefinger leaves. But here's what's the most interesting. And I want to know what your reaction is to this. When he says he's leaving, he basically says you learned to manipulate from the best one, leading, his mother or her mother, Ned Stark's wife, Catelyn.
Catelyn, yeah.
But then he goes to kiss her, and what's weird is it's half of it seems like a goodbye kiss, half of it seems like I want to bang you kiss.
Oh, 100%. Really He's attracted to her.
Feel about it. Well, I mean, here's the thing. That could be construed as just, I mean, they kiss in this time. Kissing someone on the lips, a loved one, is a way to say goodbye, and that's fine. But this definitely lingered. Was that? Is that wasn't that How I Met Your Mother thing? Oh, they lingered.
I don't know.
I can't remember where that's from. I can't remember where that's
but
from.
No, I have to say, just to cut you off, I do think that he's into her, and I think that he sees Catelyn, and age doesn't really matter much in this time. I think he totally, if he could, he would totally bang her. I think I don't think he will. I don't think it'll ever get to that. And the guys with I think Sansa is already manipulating him. If you see in the scene, like the way it starts with her, lighting the candles to Lyanna, and then the moment that Littlefinger comes, she completely changes like her personality when he comes. And she's already. I don't even know if she realizes she's doing it. Well, she already has no idea. A pretty good job at being a manipulative and subconsciously changing herself to adapt to the situation.
One of the things that I kind of skipped over, I glossed over, and I'm reading back now. The one thing that is being set up is Littlefinger says, not to worry. He's placing her here for a reason. He says, Stannis is going to take Winterfell as he marches south, and he will make Sansa the wardeness of the North.
That's the goal here.
Winterfell back, and she's going to be a very, very key piece, for the future of the entire area. So that's awesome.
XAM Emrys, he's asking who wants who? I missed it. We're saying that Littlefinger wants Sansa. That's in my opinion personally. I think that I totally think that Littlefinger would bang her if he had the chance. But let's get to the final bit of the episode because we've been skipping around, but I think we covered everything except for Marine at the end.
Yep.
Pretty much, the Sons of the Harpies or whatever the hell their names are, just going on a rampage around the city.
Forget that. You're skipping ahead. So first you got because it's up before. You have traditionally this is the day of the year where the fighting pits open, and you have that really annoying dude.
Oh yeah, this again. I don't even want to talk about this.
Why?
I feel like they keep covering this over and over again on this show. It's like, why?
Basically, well, so I'll tell you why.
I'll tell you why.
No, seriously, I will, because it's kind of like hey, this is in front of your face the whole time. How are you not realizing it? Type of thing. Sorry, I mean to hit that, but this guy is kind of. I feel like he is like the leader or one of the key people of the Sons of the Harpy. And he's kind of like the messenger. He's kind of saying like. To the Sons of Harpy, I know this is what we need to do. I'll see if I can get her to bend to our ways. If not, proceed with the plan. And I feel like he keeps going to her and pleading with her, open the fighting pits, do this, go back to this. So he's definitely. I feel like there's a lot of malevolence to him, and that's why they keep going back to him. But everything.
Yeah, it's hard to read him. I don't know for sure how to read him personally.
No, I feel like everything stems from everything that he requests. Every time it's denied, the Sons of Harpy kind of go against what we were wanting to happen. So I do really feel like he's an evil player in all of this.
Also, to back up a little bit, right before that scene, Barristan is talking with Daenerys, and once again, we're seeing the opposing sides to the story, because he's talking about Rhaegar being this like really nice, kind person who goes out into the city and sings and dances and all this kind of stuff. And then earlier in the episode, we're hearing about him kidnapping and raping Lyanna. So once again, they're showing this opposing sides here, and who do we believe? So I thought that was interesting once again.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting way to set up the entire, especially for the ending of this episode, which I guess we can kind of go into now because you kind of touched on it already. Here he is at the beginning, and you see the scene with Daenerys and him, and he's telling her this story, and you see this like kind of almost like a fatherly adoration. She definitely, or at least looks at him like a mentor. He's definitely key to her, in every single episode that he's been in with her. He's a key member of her council.
And that's what's interesting is like the difference between him and Jorah, because Jorah was also very loyal, but Jorah should have been like a father figure, but insteid wanted Daenerys. And then we've got Barristan, who really is like a father figure.
Right, absolutely. So basically, the last part of the episode was what, about maybe 5 to 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's the most uncomfortable to me because you don't want anything like this to happen anymore. You're kind of like tired of it. And I don't know about you. As much as I'm team Lannister, mostly for Jaime, who I'm starting to like less and less. I'm definitely on the Daenerys side. I feel like she's going to be the one that wins in the end if there's really a winner in this game, with the Unsullied. So Sons of the Harpy are out to kind of trap them, and they do it. They lure them into areas.
And what was weird about this is the Unsullied are supposed to be the strongest like fighting military force in the nation.
Right.
Like, did this strike you as a little weird that like there was a good number of Unsullied versus pretty much almost the same amount of Harpies, and they were losing?
Right. What's weird about it is, I mean, we don't know who the Harpies are, but like an educated guess to me is that they were the slave owners that are just unhappy. Silly me, I feel like, and they kind of portrayed them that way, that the slave owners were just these like weak. They kind of partied all the time. They didn't really care about fighting or anything like that. So how all of a sudden do they have all these fighting techniques? So I agree. I didn't like how easily defeated they were, but what ends up happening is they're a lot of the Unsullied are in their off time, and they're in a courtyard with I guess prostitutes or something like that, and the Sons of the Harpy come in and slaughter a bunch of people. The Unsullied that are marching through the town hear this, they run to the aid, and I guess the people in the brothels are on the sides of the Harpies, which is weird. You would think that they would be on the sides of the Unsullied and Daenerys because they're trying to fight for equality. We
especially saw that with the one, I don't know if she was a prostitute or whatnot, but she does misdirect the Unsullied to go in a direction they shouldn't go. So clearly, as you said, they're on the Harpy side. I guess Daenerys really lost the city when she executed that one guy.
You got to remember too, that was that episode with her, with that lady, that person. That was before that happened. That's actually what led up to that. But yeah, I agree. I feel like she definitely lost a lot of trust and faith that the city had in her. But the Sons of the Harpy now are on a killing spree. They're going through, and you're just seeing them. And now here's the ones I believe. I believe when they go through and they kind of come up behind the Unsullied and like slate their throat. That I get. I'm okay with that. That seems believable. But then a lot of the Unsullied and one group that we later on come to find out it has Grey Worm in there. He
gets his helmet knocked off, and then you're like, no, Grey Worm.
Right, you see who it is, and you're just like, oh my god, we already almost lost you the one time, or we thought, at least you did. You thought it was the same guy. So they're fighting, and a lot of them, I think, like right in the beginning of the fight, I think, like you said, there's 6 Unsullied, and I think there's probably about double that of the Sons of the Harpy.
And the Grey Worm is holding his own, man. He's the best by far of the Unsullied.
But what really upset me is, like you said, 2 of them go down almost immediately. Like, there's almost no fight. Like, these guys easily should have taken them out. They have shields and spears. The other guys have daggers. That doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So I don't like that, but it is what it is. It's a context that you have to get out of it, that the Sons of the Harpy kind of overtook them. But then you have, what's his name that you were talking about?
Barristan comes in to save the day.
Yeah, Barristan. Right. He's just whistling, singing through the streets. Good old Barristan. and all of a sudden he hears the screams and the cries, and he tries to come to the aid. And he does. It's basically Grey Worm, and I think one Unsullied at this point. The Unsullied gets stabbed, so now it's just Grey Worm versus I think like 8 of the Sons of the Harpy, and Barristan comes in and just stabs the one through the back. And you see the fight of the two of them. Grey Worm's
and then the epic music starts.
Right, and something happened. I mean, Grey Worm's already gotten stabbed and sliced, about 3 times already at this point, and it's just brutal. I mean, Barristan definitely holds his own for an old.
Definitely,
I'm not gonna lie. Like that was a little bit more unbelievable than the way that the Unsullied got taken out.
If he does die, Barristan, I would say he went out like a champ at least.
Oh, he did. I'm gonna say right now. So at the end of the episode, they finally kill him off, and you just see Grey Worm kind of crawling his way over to Barristan, and Barristan's on his back, and Grey Worm ends up going on his back. I don't think Grey Worm's dead, but I do think Barristan is.
Yeah, that's the thing is I don't watch the next episode.
I didn't either.
Do you? Okay.
I didn't.
Because I heard something about what they showed on the next episode Game of Thrones thing, and it seemed like they already kind of spoiled who lived and who died. I'm not going to talk about it just in case you don't want to know.
No, I don't.
Yeah, but I thought it was kind of annoying. It's like I thought this was more meant to be like really like a mystery. Like I thought they were going to wait until the next episode to let us know.
Right, you're going to make an unneeded setup with Tyrion and Jorah, but you're going to tell everybody in the recap for next week what happens to these two. Get out of here.
I thought that was kind of annoying, but hopefully it's wrong. Maybe they're just trying to lead us in the wrong direction on the preview for next episode, and it's going to be completely different than what we're expecting. That's what I'm hoping. Because I would love to see both of them live. I like both Grey Worm and Barristan. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we'll lose at least one of them.
Yeah,
so that sucks.
I agree, 100%. Like I said, I'm going to call it right now. Barristan's dead, and that's kind of why you got to remember too. We saw Barristan throughout the entire series, but then all of a sudden, like this last episode, you saw a really touching moment specifically between him and Daenerys, which you've never seen before. You've seen him give her advice and be her counsel, but you've never seen like a good relationship moment through it. So there was a lot of setup for like a goodbye there. Unless it's completely mindfuck and they're just like, oh, you're gonna like Barristan, so you're gonna think he's dead, but really he's alive and Grey Worm's the one that dies. Screw you. Here's a wedding. So I don't know. Let's
go to the chat room for a little bit here. Guys, let us know if you have any questions. Right now, we're going to keep an eye on the chat room for a little bit. Welcome, Sweet Mama. And Girl at Games, haven't seen you in a little bit. It's nice to have you back. Average Ruby, we got a few people coming in now. And I think somebody said that Jon Snow is like kind of becoming more of an asshole in the show. Do you agree with that? That he's
he said make Jon Snow look a little bit of a, and it didn't say anything after that.
Oh, I thought he was like abbreviating asshole, like A.
No, I don't know. I couldn't see. I don't know. I'm eager to see what you think. I'm actually going to go until then. So that was I am Emrys.
Yeah, I can't say his name either.
So I am Emrys. Do me a favor and just rewrite what you were trying to say. You think Jon Snow is being.
What did you think of this episode overall? Let's go with that first.
I liked it a lot. The last two have probably been my favorites. I know you said the beginning was slow for you, which is weird for me because I like the beginning. The beginning, like the entire episode.
Oh, this episode? Yeah.
Yeah, this episode. No, I didn't watch it at the same time you guys did. I had Danny. Obviously, I didn't come over. But I watched it on Tuesday night after my stream. I watched it on my PC. And usually when I do that, I don't like the episodes as much. It's not as, fulfilling to me. I don't have a big TV to watch it on. There's not a good amount of sound. But I loved it the entire time. So I actually liked it. It
wasn't long. Like, don't get me wrong. It was only like the first 10 minutes, and it was just kind of like I was getting to that point where I was like, okay, I can see what people are talking about now. It's like let's pick it up, let's get something going here, and then around the middle half, and even though it wasn't action, but I really liked the exchanges in the middle, the part of the wall, and then especially in the catacombs of Winterfell. I thought those two scenes alone were like these are great like dialogue heavy scenes, and then we got our great action scene at the end as well. So this episode delivered in my opinion.
It fulfilled 100%. I am Emrys said that they're making him be like a punk. I actually don't think that. Here's the thing with Jon Snow. To me, at least, the way I'm taking it is Jon Snow didn't want this position. Really, I mean, he's honored to have it, and he'll do his best to do it. But he didn't really, fight for it because it wasn't like he never felt like he wanted to be a born leader. He wanted to, rule he wanted to rule Winterfell. He definitely wanted to be, or at least be a Stark. but he didn't really ever set out to be, the head,
I think Emrys is more talking about his appearance than anything. I think he's saying he looks like a wimp. And yeah, granted, Jon Snow, the actor, is very short, but I don't think he looks like a wimp. I think he pulls off the commanding presence, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. We have. I just want to actually acknowledge some of the people in the room real quick, because we got 20 people in the room. We haven't acknowledged every single person because we were joined by Average Ruby. We have Ebenezer Giza. Girl That Games is joining us. Inaugural 7. Miss Amanda is lurking somewhere. Net Guy is in here. What's going on, man? Sweet Bam is back with us. Brad's in here. And what about Big Bob? So, guys, what is going on? Thanks for joining. But yeah,
thank you so much for joining us. And I think there's a few new people in here too. I recognize some different names. Don't forget to follow the show, guys. We do game streams and gaming talk shows and TV discussions all week, every week actually. So just hit that heart button at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen if you want to follow us. I don't see any other questions relating to Game of Thrones right now, though.
Not really, not too much.
So I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm actually really eager for this weekend, and I'm actually not only for the episode, but we get to see some of the people at Comic-Con. We're going to get to see some of the people there. Hopefully Daenerys is going to be there, but I know a couple other people are supposed to be there, so it's going to be an interesting weekend.
Black Panther says that he has one final question for us, so we'll hold off just for a moment here. Hopefully he'll put that in there pretty quickly. We're waiting for you, Black Panther. I know that you've been. He actually waited for us to finish our discussion so that he could ask his question, which was nice.
Stallone Gumman actually brought it up between him and Emrys, saying that this is completely different than the books, besides a couple spots. And yeah, we kind of knew that. They kind of said, we're kind of going in our own direction with this season. They're following the end. So the thing with the show is they have the end game. They have the end game. They have the key stuff that they want to be that wants to be touched on. But they're kind of, filling in the gaps for what will fit inside the world, and hopefully even correcting things that people, didn't like in the books, which they have the freedom to. They followed the books directly the first season, and from what I hear, the second season pretty closely. But after that, I'm okay with it. I like.
They're going to go ahead of the books too, supposedly. This is going to be a very different season for the show. Okay, Black Panther's question was, why the show Powers on PlayStation only in North America? I actually didn't know that was the case, actually.
I didn't know that either, but really don't feel like you're missing out because it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't crazy about the first episode, and so much so that I decided not to watch the rest of the series.
I think me and Dean both watched 3 of them. Rick and Puss enjoyed it, and I feel like I kind of put them down when I say how much I hated it. But there's a lot that they did.
Well, I mean, it had enough, I guess, because it was renewed for a second season.
Right. So that's pretty good. But yeah,
I'm happy about that personally, though, just to go a little off topic. I'm happy that they renewed it just because it means they're doubling down on TV entertainment on PlayStation, exclusive to PlayStation Plus members. I think that's awesome. It might mean that we get more gaming TV shows in the future from PlayStation. So, yeah, that's awesome.
Right,
I'm happy about it.
So before we go, because I feel like that's all the questions we're going to get about Game of Thrones. Guys, how about everybody right now wishes Drew a happy early birthday, because it is birthday tomorrow. And I know a lot of you will be back tonight, so you can do that there as well. But I feel like everybody should wish Drew a happy birthday right this second before they leave the room, just in case.
Thank you, Michael.
See him again.
Yeah, tomorrow is my birthday. May 8th is my birthday. And I'll be on tonight, as Mike was saying, for Level Up Direct. If you guys want to call in and wish me a happy birthday, I'll be on for about 2 hours from 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, talking all things gaming related, taking calls. You could go a little TV and movies if you guys want. There's a lot of great news this week in TV and movies, especially Marvel stuff this week with Civil War and stuff. So we could talk about that tonight too. Delone Gumman, Dustin, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Everybody here is awesome. Thank you so much. Black Panther says, I paid Plus and I can't see it. Damn, that sucks, man. That really sucks. If you wanted to watch it and you can't, that has to be frustrating.
There are venues that you can go to see it. I think IGN has it or something like that. So I don't know.
And the first episode I know is, I think, free, available online if you want to just watch the first episode and see what you think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think that's going to wrap us up tonight, guys. As I was saying, we do reaction time every week with Game of Thrones. And Greg and Dean do Arrow and Flash every week. So go to our YouTube, youtube.com/The Level Up Show, level spelled LVL. Subscribe while you're there, of course. And check out all the past content we've done. We've done the full season of The Walking Dead and Better Call Saul. as I was saying, Arrow and Flash are wrapping up. We're on our way through Game of Thrones, and we will continue with other TV shows in the future. Mike said he might want to do Orange is the New Black with Greg. That would be a lot of fun, of course. Let us know as well, in the comments on YouTube what you would like us to do with Reaction Time. If there are any TV shows you would like us to consider in the future. That doesn't mean we're going to, but we might consider it in the future. If it's a show that we do watch and we do enjoy, we might decide to turn a Reaction Time into it. Also, anybody new, one more time, hit that heart button in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. We did get 2 follows right now from, hold on one second. Let's find out who they were. I know I Am Emrys was one of them, and also Yanni Videos and Girl Gamer and Russ Will. So 4 follows, actually. Thank you so much, guys, for all the follows.
Girl Gamer was already following us.
Yeah. You guys are awesome. I Am Emrys, who I think is pretty new to our show, said great show. Thank you so much, man.
And you're great in the chat. We're glad to have you here, bud.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll see you guys tonight with Level Up Direct. Come back on Sunday, of course, because Mike will be here and the rest of the crew for the Level Up Show, episode 73, I think.
Is it 73 or 74?
I think it's 73. Pretty sure. So we'll see you guys all then. Until then, take care, and as always, level up.
Level up.
Give it more enthusiasm, Michael.
Level up! Give it all you got! Level up!
That's awesome! See you later, guys.